Then get me off the label. Now you back rapping again. Okay.
But they all,
Jay and Beyoncé. And they dropped the same day as Nas. After Nas have some type of glitch problem where Tidal wouldn't release his album for at least 24 hours.
Nas is finally spilling what insiders been whispering for years. Jay-Z and Beyoncé ain't just competitive. They play dirty when it comes to protecting their throne. Nas is pulling back the curtain, saying both of them have straight up sabotaged other artists whenever they felt even a little bit threatened. And yes, that includes the late DMX. Everyone knew about the tension between Jay-Z and DMX, but behind closed doors, it was way messier than the public ever saw. DMX once revealed that Jay-Z purposely messed with the rollout of his 6th album.
What happened was, like I said, I had the crazy track record, Def Jam, everything was good. I go to do the 6th album, and,
Jay-Z became president.
Yeah. When he first got the job, he hit me with the call like, yo, dog, inmates is running the building like, yo, you good? Finish the album, shoot the video. What happened? Niggas go on vacation and, we don't know. What you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video, then don't know?
Just to avoid going head-to-head, Jay, who was running Def Jam at the time, reportedly delayed the drop on purpose. And by doing that, he cut off DMX's momentum, knowing full well that X was one of the few artists left who could outsell him. That move wasn't just shady, it was calculated.
Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. Because at first you retire, then get me off the label, now you back rapping again. Okay.
Now here's the wild part. Nas is saying the Carters came for him the same exact way. When Nas dropped Nasir, his long-awaited Kanye West-produced album, it was supposed to be a huge comeback moment. But then, boom. The very next day, Jay-Z and Beyoncé dropped Everything Is Love out of nowhere, complete with a slick, fully produced music video filmed in the freaking Louvre. Let's be real. You don't just accidentally launch a whole surprise visual album the day after your old rival drops his first major project in years. Nas saw it for what it was, a cold, strategic hit job. And it wasn't the first time Jay pulled a stunt like that either. According to Nas, it's been happening for years. What's even crazier, Nas wasn't even trying to reignite old beef. He'd moved on. But Jay and Beyoncé, not so much. Whether it's out of fear, pride, or just plain spite, Nas says Jay's been sabotaging anyone he couldn't control, all while hiding behind Beyoncé's glamorous image and her army of loyal fans. DMX is back in the headlines, not because of anything new, but because fans are finally giving him credit for something major. He was one of the very few rappers brave enough to call out Jay-Z directly. While most artists stayed silent, too scared to even whisper anything bad about Jay or Beyoncé, X had no fear. He said what others wouldn't dare. But here's where things get real shady. After DMX passed away in April 2021, Jay-Z went on LeBron James's show and tried to rewrite history. He painted their rivalry as just healthy competition, saying it was all love between them. Sounds sweet, right?
It was a competitive thing, but it was big love. He was so competitive with me. I never met a human being more competitive with me, like ever, not even my big brother.
Well, DMX had already told a very different story before he died. According to X, the real drama started back in 2004, when Jay-Z stepped in as president of Def Jam, replacing Lyor Cohen. DMX had been holding Def Jam down for years, dropping 5 straight #1 albums between 1998 and 2003. That's legendary. But when Jay got the top seat, that's when everything changed. DMX said Jay started messing with the release of his 6th album, Year of the Dog, again. The reason? Jay had just come out of retirement and didn't want any real competition in his way. So instead of building with his artists, Jay allegedly used his power to stall DMX's momentum. And it worked. That's when it all clicked for X. He saw through the smiles and the handshakes. He realized Jay wasn't confident. He was insecure. Insecure enough to push people aside just to shine harder himself. So DMX made a choice. He walked away from Def Jam for good. And here's the twist. This wasn't some isolated incident. Nah, this is part of a whole pattern. A pattern where Jay quietly sidelines any artist who starts getting too close to his level. Just look at what happened to Beanie Sigel. When Nasir hit the streaming platforms, fans couldn't help but notice. This wasn't some random timing. There's no way Jay-Z and Beyoncé's surprise album drop was just a coincidence, and Nas definitely doesn't buy it either. But what really got people talking is how Nas exposed the way Jay uses Beyoncé's image like a shield, hiding behind her fame every time he pulls these slick behind-the-scenes moves. And you know Nas. He's never been the type to tiptoe around the truth like so many others in the industry. One of the wildest moments where Nas spoke out came years ago during his appearance on Wendy Williams' radio show. Back then, Nas wasn't just calling out Jay-Z for his shady business tactics. He went way deeper. Nas put Jay on blast for staying quiet about R. Kelly, even though the rumors and disturbing accusations about Kelly were already out there. Nas straight up said Jay chose to ignore all the red flags, just so he could keep cashing in on their joint project, The Best of Both Worlds. And Nas didn't stop there. He even hinted that maybe Jay's silence wasn't only about protecting the money. He suggested Jay could have been hiding his own secrets too, as if there might have been some skeletons locked away in Jay's closet.
Jay-Z and Cameron, 106 in Park. What was going through your mind in that interview?
Nobody told me he was coming. Pause. So when I'm sitting there thinking I'm getting my moment on 106 in Park, talking about my shit and how my shit is doing well, and he comes out the back and I'm like, it's like, what's going on? So I'm sitting there just trying to be as cool as I can because, you know, this is my time to be on 106 in Park and talk about my shit. But like you said, I don't even remember what you said, but obviously it turned into his album.
So we heard you're working on another album. Can you tell us about it? What's going on?
Blueprint 2, The Gift and the Curse.
On my time, and like I said, I didn't know he was there. If I knew he was there, then, you know, we would have vibed it out, but it was more like a surprise. That's kind of probably what my face was. It wasn't more of disgust, it was more of a, what's going on?
But instead of ever facing those accusations head on, what did Jay-Z do? He played it smart and sneaky. He distanced himself from the mess, put money behind the surviving R. Kelly documentary, and let that be the nail in Kelly's coffin. Then he flipped the script and rebranded himself. Now he's Family Man Jay, Beyoncé's husband, proud dad of 3, and the face of black, wealth, and power. And get this, Nas ain't the only one who's been brave enough to call it out.
Grammys, like, they don't sing yet. They don't sing.
Right.
They don't rap yet. And they already have Grammys and shit. So it's like they give them this trophy so we secure that they're coming.
And he even straight up said that Jay's marriage is more like a business deal than a real relationship. Wild, right? But 50 didn't stop there. In another interview, he claimed that a good chunk of Jay-Z's Grammy wins wouldn't have happened without Beyoncé's influence. Basically, he was saying the awards weren't always about the music. They were about the association. And whether folks agree or not, that comment stirred the pot in a big way. This all circles back to DMX, because X was one of the first people in the game to see through Jay's moves and actually call them out. Just like Nas, DMX didn't hold his tongue. He talked about how Jay used his position at Def Jam not to lift people up, but to quietly push out anyone who could outshine him. Both X and Nas refused to play along. They weren't gonna bow down just because Jay had the keys to the building. That shared resistance created a real bond between them. It wasn't just friendship, it was mutual respect. They were two of the only ones brave enough to expose what Jay was doing behind closed doors, even when everyone else stayed silent. So when DMX passed, it hit Nas on a deeper level. He didn't just lose a peer, he lost one of the few people who saw the game clearly and wasn't afraid to speak on it. Together, they had been pulling back the curtain, revealing how Jay allegedly sabotaged careers, manipulated releases, and hid behind Beyoncé's fame whenever things got messy. The real question is, how much of this do fans actually see? Do people really understand how deep these moves go? Was Nas and DMX's call-out valid? Or is this all just business as usual in the music industry? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to JuicyScoopTV for more behind-the-scenes truth bombs. Catch you in the next video.